Welcome to our first episode of Ready, Set, Listen. And we're going to dive straight into the beginning, start at the beginning with the following questions for you, Chris.
All right, let's do it.
So, do you remember what inspired us really to create ReadyHer?
I do, yes. Being in the martial arts for a really long time, it became obvious to Pascal and I as training partners that the only way to really get good at self-defense and to feel confident at it is to do it every day, like we were, to be involved in a program where you're studying and learning. And for most people, that's just not an option. You know, we all have busy lives, and honestly, not very many people are interested in doing that. So we started thinking, you know, how can we take what we know and what we're learning and what we're good at and come up with a way to share it with people that they can do maybe just in a 1 or 2 time seminar. So how can we take all the things that we know and make it accessible to women who don't want to live, you know, in that environment? So we started thinking about different ways to share our information and make it accessible, and came up with the idea for ReadyHer.
There you go. So what do you think, what problem did we want to solve for women with that seminar?
Well, I mean, at a basic level, the biggest problem we want to solve is access to this type of information. Access to information that will keep them safe and will help them in a situation should a situation ever arise. I think the biggest challenge for women is that just by being women, we are a victim. You know, I mean, when it comes to domestic abuse or it comes to any type of assault, you know, women are typically a victim. So just by walking around in our everyday lives, you know, we're at risk.
It's like 1 out of 4 women, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yes, is going to be assaulted in their lifetime. So just with those facts and figures, you know, the biggest challenge that we face is just getting home safely at the end of the day. And how do you learn how to protect yourself in a simple, easy, understandable way that you know, that you can deliver when you need to. So I'd say that's the biggest problem we were trying to solve, is how to enable women with some tools in the tool shed, you know, that they can use when they need to.
Right. So that's fantastic, obviously. We know that. Maybe a complete different question. So the name ReadyHer, right? I remember we went out for dinner.
Yes.
And we sat on the table with our husbands. We're like, we're gonna do it. We need a really cool name. And I think ChatGPT was just about on the rise. So we were thinking, shall we just plug it in there? Shall we come up with name? I'm not quite remember how we got to ReadyHer.
No, I think you're right. I think we put in like other words for empowered, or other words for strength, or other words for, you know, stuff like that. And I think one of the words that came up was ready. And, you know, when I think of what we do, right, when I think of what we do for women is we want them to be ready, willing, and able, right? It's simply put. And so with our knowledge and with our background, we are able to ready her.
Yeah. What would you say surprised you the most in the first few seminars we did?
You know, this is interesting, and it's hard to answer without saying that I'm putting down people that we teach and that we train, because I'm not. But you know, like you look at an analogy of like playing tennis or something. I've played tennis my whole life. You have not. If I took you out, you know, you're at such a basic level, and for me it seems so easy, it seems so natural. You know, it's the same thing in self-defense. You know, you coming from an MMA background, me coming from a martial arts and self-defense background, it just comes so easy to us. The things to look for, you know, the things that make a perpetrator, you know, obvious to us, the situations we should avoid, the simple tactics we can use when under duress, you know, the which strikes are the most effective. That's so easy for us. And when you sit down with these women, you realize that it's taken years to get there, and that they simply don't have this information. They don't know. And I'm always surprised when they came up to me, or when they come up to me and they're like, oh, I never thought of this, or I never thought of that.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know it would be so easy. And it's like, you're wearing the ruby slippers the whole time. You just didn't know how to use them. And
like
so, you know, it's always surprising to me how much information we have to share, and how little people know in this area.
Yeah.
So it's really great that we have an opportunity to share it in such an easy to understand, simple, compact way, because they really need it. I mean, they're smart, they're intelligent, they're capable women. They just don't have the information. So so that surprised me, and I'm happy to meet that need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So any of you out there know women and you need that seminar, contact us on info@readyher.net. See you next time for
Bye.
episode 2. Bye.